So we discussed about work group system and domain system. So, okay. Now what is this Active Directory? We told there is a server called a domain controller. It is a server. So I took a Windows server. Okay, a Windows server. And I want to make this Windows server as a domain controller. So it is a physical object. I want to make the server as a domain controller. So for that one, I have to install a role called Active Directory or ADDS. So what is AD or ADDS? If this your Windows server is Windows Server 2000 or 2003, the role name is Active Directory. Okay. If it is 2008 and later versions, means 2012, 2016, 2019, 2022, 2025, the role name is Active Directory Domain Services. Once you install this role and configure, then this server become domain controller. So this role, every role you install, it's become that related server, right? DHCP role you install, then it's become DHCP server. So if you install AD or ADDS, it's become domain controller. So it will provide Active Directory services. So it will provide Active Directory services. So what are these Active Directory services? Two services. One is Active Directory database service. Another one is authentication and authorization. Authentication and authorization services. So Active Directory provide directory services. One is database service. Another one is authentication and authorization services. This Active Directory database stores identity of users, groups, computers, resources, information. Okay. And Active Directory authenticate users when they log into the domain computers and authorize the user to access those domain computers and domain resources also. For example, I want to access printer. I already authenticated. Now I am required authorization to access the printer. Okay. So it will provide authentication and authorization services. So whenever user log into the domain computers, domain controller authenticate. Means domain controller authenticate means which service? Active Directory services will do that. Okay. There are two statements. Next. Active Directory database. I said it's a database means it's a file, right? So file contains this database. There is a file which contains this database. Active Directory database file. Name is NTDS.DIT. Active Directory database file name is NTDS.DIT. Abbreviation is New Technology Directory Service Directory Information Tree. NTDS, New Technology Directory Service Directory Information Tree. Okay. What is it? It is a Active Directory database file. And when user log into the whenever user log in, Active Directory authenticate this user. So it uses a protocol to authenticate the user. The protocol name is Kerberos. 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 Port number is 88. Also it uses another protocol that is LDAP. Port number is 389. Okay. Next. Active Directory is a Microsoft service. Okay. No other providing Active Directory services. Only Microsoft is providing Active Directory. It's a proprietary Microsoft services. Microsoft service. Because it's available in a Microsoft Windows servers only. This Active Directory services introduced in Server 2000. Active Directory services means Active Directory in the Server 2000 and 2003 also Active Directory only. In 2000 Windows Server 2008 version, this Active Directory is become Active Directory Domain Services. Active Directory architecture contains forest, child, tree domains. Okay, so Active Directory architecture contains forest, tree, child domains. Okay, so why I told line by line? Yeah, this is an answer for what is Active Directory. It's the most common question in interviews, right? If you got a question in interview, what is an Active Directory? What to tell? Active Directory provide directory services. Two services: database, Active Directory database service, authentication and authorization service. Point number one. Point number two. Active Directory database stores identity of users, groups, computers, and resources. Active Directory authenticate users and authorize the users when they log into their domain computers and accessing directory resources. Accessing anything, like you want to access a file or you want to access some shared folder in the domain. You want to access a printer. So we need authorization to access. Authentication and authorization. Active Directory authenticate users when they log into their domain computers. Authorize the user to access the domain computer and other domain related resources. Third point, Active Directory database file name is NTDS.DIT. At the time of interview, you are able to recollect the abbreviation, tell the abbreviation. If otherwise, silent. Okay. Okay. So Active Directory database file name is NTDS.DIT. New Technology Directory Service Directory Information Tree. Active Directory use authentication protocol is Kerberos. Port number is 88. Other protocol is LDAP. Port number is 389. Okay. So these are points 1, 2, 3. Still you want, then you can add. If you search what is Active Directory in a Google, so then you will get this answer first. It is a Microsoft service kind of stuff. Okay. So, but that is not a main. It's a Microsoft service, of course, but that is not the main agenda of Active Directory. What is actual Active Directory will do is the starting points at what I told. Okay, remaining points we'll add in this. Here it is as a fourth point. Active Directory is a from Microsoft. It's a Microsoft service introduced in Windows Server 2000. In 2000 and 2003, it's an Active Directory. In 2008 and after 2008 servers, okay, in 2008, Windows Server 2008 and later versions, this Active Directory domain services. Some people having a hobby of telling 2008 as a Windows 8. Don't get confused, guys. Windows 8 is a desktop operating system, just like your Windows 11. Windows 8 is a desktop operating system, just like your Windows 10, Windows 11. Okay. Windows Server 2000 is a server operating system. So there is a small difference. Okay. So from Windows Server 2008 onwards, that Active Directory is become Active Directory domain services. Fifth point, if you want, this is optional, but later, if in case optional means separately, maybe there is a separate question. Active Directory architecture contains forest, tree, child kind of forest, root domain, tree domain, child domain concept is actually forest, root domain, child domain, tree domain concept is there. Okay. What I am missing here in this line, it is, yeah. Already I told in the Windows servers, what is that? What is the difference between AD and ADDS? In 2003, 2000, it's Active Directory role. In 2008, the role name is Active Directory Domain Services. Why change? In 2008, not only there is Active Directory based other services also introduced. Based means it works based on your Active Directory authentication. Okay, other services, Active Directory certificate services, Active Directory federation services, Active Directory right management services, lightweight directory services. Okay, so along with your Active Directory domain services. So that's why this Active Directories become ADDS. There is no difference in Active Directory and Active Directory ADDS, only it's in the different versions. Understand, guys, what is the Active Directory, what to tell, how many points? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So even when we learn and we are attending interview also, there is small confusion like from what to start, from where to start. So later on days we fine tune it and it's become a simple and easy answer. But this domain concept, not from the Active Directory 2000. This domain concept is there before Active Directory, means before 2000 server. In the NT server itself, actually introduced with this domain concept. Okay. So what is this NT to our domain concept? We'll see that one. So then we can understand the architecture. I will return this here. Okay, I will take one more. What's water bottle? Here also we can understand what are these symbols and all. You can see that. This, sorry, not this one, this one. There is an organization want to set up a domain environment for their organization, for authentication, authorization of their users in their organization. They set up a domain. The triangle symbol representation of domain. Domain representation is triangle symbol. So for example, we start with the Tata company. Okay, it's a Tata organization. They started. So they have employees. So they should be authenticated by centralized authentication. They created a domain. Domain name is Tata domain. And if you have a domain means there is a domain controller. Domain controller. This domain controller, we call it as PDC, primary domain controller. Primary domain controller. And in the same domain, we can also add one more domain controller. Means a domain can have multiple domain controllers. But one domain controller is always belongs to single domain only. Okay. Again, a domain can have multiple domain controllers. But one domain controller, a domain controller is belongs to one domain only. Okay. Because already said, domain means is a kind of membership. If you are a member of a political party, means you cannot be member of another political party same time. It can be ideal. You are not belongs to any political party, means you are a work group system. If you are belongs to a political party, means your domain system. In that party rules will apply to you. Party internal rules will be applied to you. But you are not belongs to any party. Your individual person, you are a work group. No party internal rules. Or you are belongs to an organization, so you cannot be belongs to any other organization. Okay. or you are not working anywhere, organization rules won't apply to you anyway, definitely. So like your work group system. Okay. Is someone asked any question? I didn't hear.
BDC full form.
Yeah, very good. Backup domain controller. PDC, primary domain controller. BDC, backup domain controller. Why we need a backup domain controller? Yes. Users are authentication from domain controller only. Think like this. If domain controller is down, so user don't get authenticated. User cannot authenticate means they can't log into their system. They can't able to log into their system means that they cannot do work. Problem? So what we do, we add one more domain controller. That is a backup domain controller. What are the primary domain controller? User accounts, passwords, everything is there. Same copy is available in backup domain controller. In case of primary domain controller down, then backup domain controller authenticate users. In case of primary domain controller is down, backup domain controller authenticate the system. This concept called failover. As said earlier, right? This point. In organization, few are very important in infrastructure management. High availability services means configuring failovers or fault tolerances, load balancing. Load balancers are very important in the infrastructure management. Means you have one server, we don't trust it. We put another server. In case of that server down, another server is will provide a service. You have a web server, you have put another web server. If one server is down, other server will provide a services. Right? Failover. Second reason is load balance. So 9:30 morning, office open, everybody is came 9:25, 9:20 and 9:30, 9:25, 9:30, 9:35. So this is a crucial time, 10 minutes. Almost all everybody reached. They started the system. They try to log into their account. So many requests came to the server. The server capacity is lower, so it cannot able to handle. It's burden on the network port as well as on the server also. Lot of load increases. Simple in between the 9:30 plus and minus time. Okay, means 5 minutes less. So many logins. So what happened? More authentications has to be done. Authentication authorization has to be done. The server load increases. After that one, very slowly. After 9:30, some people came little late. Some people came earlier. So before and later, so load is very less. But in that time, sometimes it is very peak. At 6:30, 6:30 means everybody log out at 6:30 only, not 6:25, not 6:35 also. 6:30, 6:31. Log out, log out, log out, log out, log out. So again, it has to check who log out, log out, log out. Okay, more load on the servers. So when load increases on the server, what happens? Server become slower, unable to process the information. People get a response slowly, or people get a failed responses. Means logout failures, or maybe login successful also, they can't get a proper information faster. Some people successfully log in, some people fail, some people are waiting. What failed people will do, they try again. Again, more burden. So what we are doing is, we put one more server, balance. One request go to PDC, other go to BDC. One request, next request go to PDC, next request go to BDC. It for load balancing purpose. So why we need a PDC-BDC architecture? Compulsory we needed two. Why? Because of failover and load balancers. Of course, lab environment is different. Real time compulsory should plan for that one. Okay. PDC, BDC. Primary domain controller, backup domain controller. Understand, guys?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Now, this organization has PDC-BDC domain controller. They have employees, domain computers. They log in, working happy. But Tata is not a small company now. The Tata organization started multiple businesses. They are into multiple businesses. For example, Tata Steel. Tata Steel business. Okay. So again, new organization, new domain controllers, PDC, BDCs. So just we understand the concept of PDC, BDC. Just I don't write PDC, BDC also. Just understand the rectangle symbol means it's a server or domain controller. Triangle symbol represents domain. It's not my own interpretation, guys. It is from Microsoft textbooks. Okay. Olden days, those days when I was younger and eager to learning time, I read textbooks. So we got good information from it. Now only Instagram. That's or Facebook. Stop studying, no knowledge, no improvement. Okay. That's the problem. Yeah, people say be with the generations. Okay. Think like a new generation, not like a old people. Then what we have done, we follow in Facebook, Instagram, and stop studying, stop practicing. So Tata started another organization. For example, TCS. Okay, Tata Consultants Services. So there is another domain for TCS organization, another domain controller. One more we take example, Tata Motors. So our favorite, which is Tata Motors. Now, the thing is, here different, all are belongs to Tata only, different organizations, different domains, and different domain controllers, different domain users, different domain computers, right? Nothing is something else. Tata company want to get some sales information from Tata Motors domain. It contains the Tata Motors, also store their Tata sales information. They want to get it for some auditing purpose. Okay, centralized. So they want to get it. They want to access their files. But that is a different domain. Tata is different domain. Tata Motors is different domain. So you can't access other domains related data or information. You can't get authenticated. Tata user cannot be authenticated by Tata Motors domain. One domain cannot authenticate other domain users. What to do? You have to create a trust relationship between that one. You have to create a trust relation between these domains. So then these Tata users can log into Tata Motors domain computers and access the domain local resources. This trust domain, trust relationship, you can create single way or double way also. Means two-way trust relationship, single way trust relationship also you can create. Next, for example, TCS want to develop a software for their Tata Steel company. So they need a certain information or their applications, information to develop their application. So they need to log into their servers and access their data or deploy their applications in their servers. So they need a access. So cannot able to provide, you can't do it. Again, we need to create a trust relationship. Either two-way trust relationship or one-way trust relationship. Again, this Tata also want to take the data from TCS. Tata wants to take a certain data access from Tata Steel. You have to create these many trusted relationships. Tata Motors want steel from Tata Steel Company. Okay. So again, you have to create a trusted relationship. Same thing between the TCS to Tata Motors. So you have to create more organizations increases, more trusted relationship you have to build it. Okay. So this is become challenge in the earlier time when we are using NT. Okay. NT time. Now this is changed with a Active Directory. In Active Directory, this method is changed. Of course, few more points we have to add. Here, the database is not Active Directory database. The database is called a SAM database. User stores in the SAM database. Authentication is NTLM authentication, not Kerberos authentication. New technology, LAN manager authentication. And also to use name resolution, it use WINS, NetBIOS based. NetBIOS based name resolution. Name hierarchy is also not there. Okay. Name hierarchy also not there. .com, 70s, like that. It is not there. It's a NetBIOS name, means computer name, domain name, just name only, not hierarchical model. And WINS is like a Windows naming system. It's only works in Windows system, Windows architecture, that to NetBIOS type only. Name resolution means computer name, IP address, not hierarchy, no FQDNs. Okay. I showed my computer name, right? My computer name, domain name. That is not there. Computer name, domain name only. Not even .coms also not there. But later, internet is changed. Okay. The naming convention is changed. So a lot of hierarchies, child domains, the different subdomains also came. Then we need an hierarchical model as well as this trust relationship should be run. Entire organization means entire organizations should be come under one single enterprise. Tata is one organization, Tata Steel is another organization, TCS is another organization, Tata Motors other, but all are belongs to Tata only. So we should combine all these organizations domains into one single enterprise, and managed by one single enterprise admin. Okay, one single enterprise admin. Don't worry. We'll see this. What is this architecture called a forest? As I said, we combined, in the Active Directory, what we are doing is, we put all the organizations, their domains into one single forest only. Okay. This forest will be defined. When this forest is defined, when you created a first domain in the forest, means first of all, you created a domain. You created domain, Tata domain, and there is a domain controller. So now you created domain. When you create a domain, so there is no other organizations are started, only one domain you created. So that is, we call it as root domain. Root domain. You created a root domain here. When you create a root domain, first domain you created, then you created a forest automatically. It is created a forest automatically. So in this forest, next TCS, for example, new organization is started, and that will be inside your forest only. That will be in your forest only. But this is hierarchical model. Compulsory, there is a top level domain, .com, .org, .net, that kind of stuff, architecture will come up. TCS.com. So this is root domain, which is enterprise level domain. Okay. And the administrator in the root domain is the enterprise administrator, is the administrator of all the domains in the forest. Okay, in the forest. And added a new domain in the existing forest. Earlier, forest is not existing. I created a root domain, forest is created. Now, in the forest, I creating new domain. So that is called a tree domain. That is called a tree domain. Like this, whenever you add new domains in the existing forest, there are become tree domains. For example, here I put a Tata Motors.com. Example. Tata Motors.com I create. So again, this is also a tree domain. Next. Example, another example. In Tata Motors, there is a sub-department, sub-organization is created. Okay, means something child organization is created. Tata Motors is running as an organization, a child organization is created. Like a Tata Motors also building electrical cars, right? So I put a electrical dot Tata Motors. Okay, so I think there is a spelling mistake here. You taken a very big lengthy one. Good. What is this? It's called a child. And it is a subdomain of the Tata Motors. These child domains can be any domains. Means child domain can have another child domains. Child domains can be created under root domain. Child domains can be created any of existing domain. It can be root domain or tree domain or child domain. We can create a child domains. Child domains are like a subdomains of existing domains. Okay. So again, here it is. See, it's not individual one. Everything, all organizations are in the same forest. If all are in the same forest means the forest is a security boundary of all these domains. The forest is provide trust relationship between these domains means automatically domains in the same forest will trust each other. So no need to create a trust relationship between them. Automatically there are trust each other. Okay. So because this Active Directory architecture also maintain a GC, global catalog. So in this forest, more than one means one or more. Minimum is one, more than one. So one or more global catalog servers are there. Within the domain controllers only, the certain domain controllers also having certain domain controllers are like a global catalog servers. Means global catalog means entire forest domains, their domain data stores in the global catalog. Means each domain contains their domain users, groups, computers information, their domains information only. TCS.com domain controller contains TCS.com domain users, groups, computers information. Tata Motors.com domain contains, the domain controller contains Tata Motors users, groups, computers information only. But if in case the root domain, the domain controller means the Tata.com domain controller is there, it's by default, it is a global catalog server. By default, by installing, it's the first one, automatically it's a global catalog. It contains all domains, users, groups, computers, information. 1 second, guys. Okay, sorry. Where are we? So that is called a global catalog. Means it's itself a domain controller. These are all domain controller. In that one, he can make an option like this domain controller plus itself a GC, means global catalog. So when you specify it's a global catalog, means that global catalog, when the domain controller is also a global catalog server, a domain controller is also a global catalog server, means all the domains, their users, groups, computers, information is there now. That information also stores in this global catalog server. So that's why, see, it is easy to communicate from one domain to another domain in the same forest. If you want to communicate one forest to another forest, this is Tata domain, Tata forest. There is a Reliance forest is also there. Geo forest is there. Okay. Aditya Birla forest is there. Airtel Sahara forest is there. What we do? We will create trusted relationship between them. We create a trusted relationship forest to forest, or in a forest, one specific domain to another forest. For example, Reliance don't have motors. So they want your Tata Motors. They require this Tata Motors things into the Reliance. Or maybe they want to test something on your electrical Tata Motors. They are developing some electrical system. They don't do it, but still will think. Okay, so they develop some electrical system and they want to sell to Tata. They want to test on Tata Motors. So we can create only that domain's trust relationship between the forest. Don't worry if you don't get it, or no problem. But see, it's a forest. Active Directory architecture. This AD architecture contains forest, root domain, tree, child domains. Domains in the forest trust each other. Forest is a security boundary of all the domains in the forest. Okay, next. So forest will be created when you create a first root domain. When you create a root domain, so it means you created a forest. Once forest is created, then any domains you are creating, you can specify the forest name and you can create. Okay. Let's understand Active Directory architecture.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we have a server here currently running. So this server is server 2022 server. Here in this server, I am going to show you how to install this NTDS role and configure it. Before you are installing, what are the things we have to do it? Just take a 5 minutes break. Okay, just 5 minutes, relax. Okay, then I will show you, just see and enjoy any step. Okay, I will try to do one by one slowly. We do it. Okay, and you want to set up with this server, then how to set up the server also I will tell you. I already having recorded videos. I will show you how to install this server also. Okay, right now already I installed it, so in that one only I will configure this Active Directory, and also we will add the client to domain. Okay, so just 5 minutes, like 4:55. Relax, close your eyes. Okay, have some water or washroom, then we'll start.